tell you that you're probably going to find out as you go out there that you're not going to amount to jack squat.
Well, hi, folks.
What is going on, y'all?
Daily Draft, Day 2. And it would be just ever so fitting, since the Carolina Panthers traded with the Chicago Bears, that we go to the Chicago Bears.
We do go to the Bears.
Get your questions, your draft questions in the chat. Yes, I've heard the Jets are signing Alan Lazard. No, I'm still not ready to jump off, to get off that ledge that I just so easily could jump off of.
Yeah.
As always, I am ESPN draft nerd Jeremy Greene, and
Welcome.
he's back.
Well, I'm here to tell you
Yes.
that you're probably going to find out as you go out there that you're not going to amount to jack squat.
Football Farley himself, Brian Haynes, with me in studio.
I gotta tell
this
you,
morning.
that banger of an intro, dude. We went back to full on 80s hair metal, like rocking out, dude. You should see me with my freaking air guitar going.
Hey, you were enjoying yourself over there for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty good stuff.
Sloan Jordan said I didn't want to do Houston before they trade Tunsil for a 1 and a 2. Yeah, I mean, Houston's an interesting team, but for me, I think now the most interesting team in the league is the Chicago Bears.
Well, it's not just they're making some other moves that are very interesting.
Well, I mean, they had a good day yesterday.
Yeah, they had a really good day.
Tremaine Edmonds, T.J. Edwards.
Yep. I mean, this team has set themselves up. The way that I have looked at this whole entire trade and everything is basically what they're saying is we gave you DJ Moore. We're putting other pieces together for you. We got an offensive lineman for you. We're going to have multiple draft picks this year, and we're going to give you 1 year, Justin Fields, because all these guys could not be there at the end of this year, next year.
Well, adding Nate Davis yesterday was certainly interesting. I look at the line now. I want to add a center.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm looking at ideal things I can do over the course of this 7-round mock draft for the Chicago Bears, I do definitely want to add a center.
Something
I'm still looking at the defense going, it's not done. I need a couple corners.
Mm-hmm.
I still want an edge rusher.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that edge is probably not going to be there at number 9.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Tyree Wilson's going to be gone. I feel like Will Anderson's going to be gone. I still have $50 million in cap space.
Right.
It's getting a little thin on the free agent market.
Yeah.
So, I'm not necessarily putting a whole lot of stock into that part of it. As the mock has gone, we've already run those first 8 picks ahead of the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Obviously, your quarterbacks are gone. Bryce Young to the Panthers, C.J. Stroud to Houston, Anthony Richardson to the Colts, and then the Raiders take Will Levis.
So
I do not think Jimmy Garoppolo going to Las Vegas will preclude them from taking a quarterback.
No. Do you think that this should? I mean,
Devin Witherspoon should not have been the pick at 8.
no. I mean,
He'll go in the middle of the first round.
So
that should probably have been Christian Gonzalez.
So in this exercise, I mean, Peter Skoronski's the pick, right?
No, I don't think so.
I
feel like Nate Davis was a good enough of an acquisition. You've still got Tevin Jenkins. You got Braxton Jones you hit last year.
Yeah, and here's the thing: the offense is shaping out right now.
Well,
you need defense.
You have no excuse.
You need defense.
The excuse for the Chicago Bears is now falling by the wayside.
Yeah,
because you do have DJ Moore. You've got Chase Claypool. I don't feel like I have to take a receiver here.
No,
I mean I want to add a weapon later on. I've still got Kmet.
You still got Darnell Mooney.
Yeah. I get into a lot of fights about Darnell Mooney. I get into even more fights about Chase Claypool because I loved him, and then I didn't.
And then you did not.
And that
anymore.
transformation is not. Sloan Jordan said a good day's paying Edmonds and Edwards Roquan money. Yeah, but you got 2 starters.
Yeah.
You got 2 starters that you're not tied into long term.
Yeah.
T.J. Edwards is a good T.J. Edwards is a good first two downs linebacker. Tremaine Edmonds was really good in coverage last year. I mean, I'm not averse to it.
No.
Look, this team had more money than any team in the NFL.
Well, and the Nate Davis thing is really what makes it a really good day.
I like Nate Davis. The signing on the line, who the name is now eluding me. Walker, the defensive tackle. I like all of these moves for Chicago because now you don't have to reach. So looking at the first pick here with the Bears, I don't necessarily think this guy would be here. I think the Falcons would. The reason I feel okay doing this is, no, I don't think the Falcons would take Devin Witherspoon.
Uh-huh.
I also don't necessarily think they're going to take the guy that I'm getting ready to take.
And that is?
I feel like at 8, Atlanta's taking a pass rusher, and there's not a lot of way around that for me. So at number 9, I'm going to take Christian Gonzalez.
Okay.
The corner out of Oregon.
The corner.
I feel like that gives me a number 1 corner. I don't really have to worry about that moving forward.
Yeah.
I can allow Kyler Gordon to be my 2. And that's – I mean, that makes me feel – I feel pretty good if I'm the Bears. I still have 54, 61, and 64.
Right.
2 picks in the back end of the second round, and then 1 right there at the beginning of the third.
Jekyll in the comments said that number 1 has to be Stroud. In this formula here, basically it's pre-generating the picks, and
yeah, I'm not making any of the picks for anybody but the Bears.
Picking the Bears at this point.
And I agree that 1 is probably going to be C.J. Stroud. It's just I have no control over that.
Yeah.
So we'll take Christian Gonzalez there at 9, and we will let it run its
let it
course.
roll, baby. Let it roll.
And we'll get that back up on the screen. You can see the picks as they go. And I will be picking again at number 54 for the Chicago Bears.
For the Chicago Bears. For the Chicago Bears.
Damn. John Michael Schmitz went right in front of me. Which
the guy that it always seems to happen in these exercises with you.
It does, and I love him so much.
Yesterday, what was it, Gibbs that went right before you?
Yeah, that is one thing about running the PFF simulator is that you do feel like on the side of your screen there you can see there are still players on the board. For me, I have another pick right down the line, so I feel like I can do a lot here.
Okay.
I would consider Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Probably a touch early for me. I know I've still got Adeborie from Northwestern.
Yep.
They're Andre Carter. I feel like there are a couple edge rushers that I can still take and feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Weipler is the center out of Ohio State. Oops, wrong button.
Wrong button.
To me, that gives me my center. And I feel like I can work with that moving forward.
Okay.
Because now I'm looking at the line going, you have no excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to hear, well, the line sucked and you didn't have any weapons. Well,
you have them
none
all.
of that's true now.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, the line was so terrible is an overrated narrative that's just, I'm not going to say it wasn't true. It's just not as true as people made it out to be.
There was metrics out there that shown that there was a good percentage of the sacks that he got last year that were his
on
fault.
him.
We're on him.
Yeah, I mean,
it was not on the line.
And that's going to be that'll be a problem for him.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
It is out there. I mean, there's no denying that.
So I right there at number, that is 54.
54.
I take Luke Weipler, the center out of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 more picks coming up right here, back to back,
pretty much, right?
In the offing there, I lost Steve Avila, Cody Monk. The good thing is that I kind of started a run on linemen, which that's the way I would want that to go.
Right, because then you can go. There's the defensive players that you wanted, especially they need an edge.
And for me, now it's between. I lost Anudike-Uzomah. He went to Detroit. So now it's a question of, do I want Adeborie from Northwestern?
Yes.
Or do I want Andre Carter? For me, this is not close. For Chicago.
Probably Andre Carter.
No, if I'm taking Andre Carter, I want him to stay.
Well,
there.
I mean, of course, you get the Northwestern, you get the Chicago feel.
Well, and for me, I do not take those things into account.
Well, but it is something.
I have better eyes on him because yes, he did play in my city, and so for me, I like him better with his hand in the dirt than I like Andre Carter.
Well, and I just
Carter's a stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker for me.
And I just I love him, but there's not been a whole lot of Army guys coming out of the into the pros.
Well, and I don't necessarily even worry about that. Where I go with him is some of the tape last year was just not good.
Yeah.
Now, he was on a team that didn't have anybody that could take any of the pressure off of him.
Right.
Every team they played knew that Andre Carter was going to be that was the guy you had to worry about.
Yeah.
But Adeborie had that same thing at Northwestern.
It's true.
And I'm not going to lie, I like the tape on him better. He was one of the guys I told you when the combine happened. The combine didn't go my way because so many of the guys that I was going to talk about went to Indianapolis and blew it out.
On the updated and new Amon-Ra St. Brown list.
Yes. And I'm
formerly known as the Chase Claypool, formerly known as the Six to Midnight, formerly known as.
I'm going to have to dig a little deeper on that list this year.
Yeah.
Because
too many of your guys are known.
Too many of my guys are have become things. So and I don't love that.
Well, here's the thing, Jeremy. When you're good at what you do, other people are going to see it.
Yes, and I'm not the only one that can figure these things out. NFL teams they pay a lot of money to figure these things out. So I'm going to take Adeborie.
Yep.
The edge out of Northwestern at 61.
And then they get
64 first pick of the third round.
Yep.
So in between that, I lose Rashee Rice, I lose Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown's a guy I would have considered.
Okay.
But I'm not, my heart is not breaking that I lost him. And I want another piece to add to that defensive line. So with the first pick in the third round, I'm going to take Keanu Benton.
And that's a really good pick.
The defensive tackle out of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here now. I don't pick again for a minute. I feel like now I've taken care of my biggest needs. I got an edge rusher. Right. I got the center for the future.
Yep.
I got my number one corner.
Yep.
And now I feel like I can just take best player available because the biggest problem the Bears have is that the roster is not very talented.
They don't have any depth. So at this point, and that's what I think a lot of teams forget about in these middle rounds is that you just need to pick the best player available and work it out, unless you have gaping needs at a spot.
Well, I mean, and that's one of the things that bad teams fall into is they lock into, I need an edge, or I need a corner, or I need a running back, and you don't take the best player on the board.
Right.
You take the best player at a position that you absolutely have to have a guy.
Yeah,
and that is often why
bad teams stay bad.
Bad teams stay bad. So as we go through here, you'll see the picks on the screen as they go. A few guys that I've seen go off here that I'm not super stoked. Devin Achane would have been that would have been a guy I would have targeted here at 103.
Garrett Williams out of Syracuse is gone.
And I like Garrett Williams. I know he's your Syracuse guy.
Did you see that Spears got picked by the Panthers?
Tajay Spears?
Yeah. At I think, what is it,
98.
98, which was
exactly where I had him. Yeah, it's funny how PFF and I think eerily similar sometimes. Sometimes we don't.
And the one thing you also have to understand about these mock drafts as well is that this isn't going to take into play of trades, and there's going to be a billion and one trades happening. So these are fun exercises, but when it comes down to it, but you can see where you're going with these kind of things.
So now there are three guys predominantly that I'm looking at here. One of them has fallen, which is who I'm going to take.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Michael Wilson out of Stanford. That's a player that I really like. He had a really good Senior Bowl week. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew.
He's the cornerback from TCU.
He's also about 5'4".
Yeah, and so
so he's a slot guy predominantly.
He's just a small feller.
And I would consider him here. I'm not looking at that as that's my biggest need. And there is a guy that has fallen here, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I said this after the combine that the combine did not go particularly well for small little receivers. And one of them is who I'm going to take right here, and that's Tank Dell, wide receiver out of Houston.
Yes.
This is another weapon for Justin Fields.
And again.
And look, I know that I'm I now have added a copious amount of smaller receivers, shifty guys. I'm okay with it. I just need to have as many weapons as I can for Justin Fields.
Well, and here's the thing. You're going to need the guys that can run a quick route, get off the ball, get open. Those small fellers can get through the line, find its ways out, because, the faster Justin Fields gets the ball out of his hands, the better off they're going to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and Tank Dell was a guy that I really liked coming in. I still like. He's just so damn small. So I'm looking at DJ Moore. I think he can play on the outside.
Yeah.
Chase Claypool can obviously play on the outside. I like Mooney in the slot.
Yeah.
This gives me a fourth weapon. And
of all the throws that Fields, and I don't want to ever say like he excels at any of them, but I feel like when he can take a two-step drop and get the ball out of his hands, he's pretty good at that.
yes.
Just not to the outside so much.
Well, I need to make his life easier. I need to make quick decisions. What I don't want is Justin Fields just running around in the pocket like he did a lot last year.
Yes, that was aggressive.
So now I'm back on the clock at 133.
God, it seems like they have 750 picks, which they do.
They do.
Which they do.
They do. That's not an incorrect assessment that you're making there.
Are you looking to go back over to maybe shore up the line, maybe go back to the edge? Because there's two players I'm seeing available.
Well, looking at what's on the board, and I'm going to put the board up on the screen here.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few players that I'm specifically looking at, and I have to remember that I'm picking again in 4 picks. So it's really who could I possibly lose that I don't want to lose. I do want to add a running back at some point. I don't necessarily think that's
I'm not sure.
I'm not re-signing David Montgomery.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. So you're going to have to replace him.
I mean, look, I like Montgomery. I feel like the tread on those tires is getting real thin.
I mean, how old is David Montgomery? 27?
I think he's 27, but he's also an oft hurt 27.
Yeah. I mean, so we're getting towards that witching hour for running backs, as we like to say.
Correct. So there's a guy that's still on board, and this gives me an opportunity to talk about him because I love this guy, and it's KJ Henry, the edge out of Clemson. I feel like he was overshadowed
by Murphy,
by Breeze.
Yeah.
I could make the argument off the tape that KJ Henry may actually end up being the best in terms of safety.
Right.
And upside.
Right.
Edge that has come out of Clemson in a long time. I love this kid. I thought he was going to be a late 1, early 2. It just never progressed.
Right.
And so now I look at it and go, I'm doing this based off a straight projection.
Right.
And there are things on tape that I can cling to, but getting him at 134, I feel like is just tremendous value.
Well, and here's the thing: when you have this many picks, and you know that you're picking again in 4 picks, you can look at that and say, the upside to this guy is worth.
Oh, no doubt. And he's the guy that I'm looking at right here, going, I don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
Because if I'm right, I've added another piece to that line, and it's a piece that I feel like can grow over time. May not be an instantaneous hit,
right?
But I feel like over time
he could develop into maybe situational pass rushing a little bit in the beginning. Then he comes down to maybe a 3-down guy that we can look at.
So now I'm looking at the board. Dwayne McBride, I do like him, but he's kind of a hat on a hat with Khalil Herbert. I don't necessarily feel like that's adding another dimension to what I'm doing. But there are a few other guys. Deuce Vaughn is one that I know. I keep staring at him.
I know, and then I think we were having a little bit of a discussion about him yesterday. He is just a little feller.
Oh, he's teeny tiny.
Yeah.
But there is a player on the board, and it's who I'm going to take right here. I know I've already added T.J. Edwards. I know I've got Jack Sanborn that I drafted last year. I know I got Terrell Edmonds. But in terms of sideline to sideline, just raw athlete, this kid's going to help me on special teams early and could ultimately be a starter in this league. Dorian Williams, linebacker out of Tulane.
Yeah, I mean,
kid ran a 4.49.
Yeah, and there was a reason
common.
that Tulane was a decent football team this year.
In large part, it was because they were very good defensively.
Yes, exactly.
And one of the reasons for that was Dorian Williams. And so I look at that pick. Is that a little bit of a luxury? It is.
Well, and that's
but one of the things that you have to look at with a team like Chicago that is so bereft of talent and has been, the bottom of your roster is god awful.
It's so bad.
And so adding somebody, it feels like a little bit of a hat on a hat. I'm not adding a starter in round 5.
Right.
Most likely. I mean, I'm going to add a piece or somebody that I feel like can grow moving down the line.
Right.
And that's what I feel like I get there. He's one of my favorite project pieces in this entire draft.
And people fail to underestimate how important special teams is as well. And a guy that who can run like the wind is also a pretty stout feller. That's what you need, these kind of guys on the team.
I would agree. That leaves me with 2 more picks, and I'm looking at the board now, and there are guys that I like. Mekhi Blackman, he will not be here, which is the reason I'm not going to take him.
Yeah.
He to me is a back end of day 2, very very early in day 3. Bryce Ford Wheaton that I took for the Panthers. I mean, there are a lot of, don't say Stetson Bennett. I will yell.
There's no way that I would ever say that. I would almost feel like we need like some more secondary help here,
And the thing is that I'm just not wanting to reach. And, if we take out Blackman, who I've said I don't think will be here.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Jacorian Bennett. I wouldn't necessarily hate that. And that actually might be what I do as I'm sitting here thinking about it. That's probably the only draftable grade I have left other than Anthony Johnson, the corner out of Virginia.
Okay.
There is a possibility that I could get him at 219. I'm just not sure that I want to play. I'm not sure I want to play that game. Moro Ajomo is a guy that I would be interested in.
At this point, we're looking at it. What are the differences between a cornerback you can get right now or a secondary help you can get right now in the draft as opposed to the next pick?
Well, the thing that would scare me is that I've already got Christian Gonzalez, who's a rookie. I've got Kyler Gordon, that's a second-year player. I would be looking for a veteran in the slot, or that would be what I would be using my cap space on, is to add a player that can be the vet. I don't want to have a secondary that has 5 players in it that are third year in the league or younger.
Right.
I like that I have the vets in the linebacker room, and they can have Sanborn on the other side. I'm just not sure that's how I would want to attack this.
Sure.
But the more I'm looking at it, I feel like it's him, Zach Kuntz, the tight end out of Old Dominion. I like a lot. But you know what? I can't help it. The line is something that with Justin Fields that I'm going to have to take care of. And there is a player on the board that I like a lot, and it's Chandler Zavala, the guard out of NC State.
Yeah.
He's not a starter or anything like that. That is a depth piece, but that gives me a little bit of a cushion.
Okay.
Because I know he can come in and play those interior spots. Somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Nate Davis gets hurt.
Yeah.
He is a nice depth piece behind Nate Davis, and that's what I need. I need players that if something were to go wrong, that they would be usable right now.
Yeah.
And that's – I'm not going to say it's the tiebreaker, but it certainly plays in. Last pick here in the 7-round mock draft for the Chicago Bears is at 219, which means we're going real deep.
deep into the dredges.
And I'm not going to lie, there are a few guys that I'm really intrigued by here. Let me get the board up on the screen. Boop. So I would wager you will quickly see who the ones I'm targeting are.
Okay.
Will Mallory, the tight end out of Miami, is incredibly intriguing. I think he is a huge sleeper in this class. The quarterback play at Miami was dog shit.
Horrible. So bad.
But who's my quarterback?
Your quarterback is Justin Fields.
What does he do?
Runs the ball.
I'm taking Malik Cunningham. I'm taking Malik Cunningham, and I'm going to groom him as the backup to Fields long term. Because that's two quarterbacks that do the same thing. Now, they do it in a different way because Malik Cunningham's not as big and not as thick as Justin Fields is. But
and Malik Cunningham showed like a bit of that he has room to grow.
I think he can play in the NFL.
I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowl starter in the NFL.
Oh, no.
At this point, there's only about 10 quarterbacks in the whole world that can play.
I think he can play in the NFL. Hold on.
Buttons.
Forgot to mute us.
Yeah. Buttons and all them things. So, I mean, I think it's a home run. Because you want to, the thing is, when you have these running quarterbacks, when you have offenses that are built around them like this, it makes zero sense to have Colt McCoy as your backup quarterback.
Correct.
I mean, why would you want to do that? Because it's a whole different offensive skill set. You have to basically have, it's like why Tyler Huntley or whatever in Baltimore, or why RG3 was still playing and backing up Lamar Jackson for those years.
Well, I mean, you just need a quarterback that does what your quarterback
very similar
does.
to, so you don't have to change the play sheet so much.
And look, I feel like this is a quarterback class, and I've said this more than once. I like the guys on the high side. I'm in like with them. I am not in love with them. And when you get beyond that, it gets just gnarls.
I can make a point. I can make an argument that C.J. Stroud may be the only quarterback that does anything.
I think that's very heavy-handed.
I just don't know about Bryce Young. I don't.
Well, he's little, and I get that.
And that's, that's something.
But, I mean, the tape on him is still really good.
And I could see Will Levis being, like, either, a Pro Bowler or Ryan Leaf.
It depends. For me, it depends on where he goes.
Yeah.
He's so dependent on the fit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll get the class up on the board here.
Okay.
I took Christian Gonzalez at number 9.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a great piece for my defense moving forward. Luke Weipler, the center out of Ohio State, took him at 2 and 54.
The more I look at it, this next pick is the home run of the draft.
Atoma Adeboria,
yeah.
the edge out of Northwestern, added Keanu Benton right there at 64. Tank Dell with 103 in the 4th round. KJ Henry with 133, also in the 4th round.
Yep.
Linebacker Dorian Williams out of Tulane.
Uh-huh.
Chandler Zavala, the guard out of NC State, and then Malik Cunningham at 7 and 219. I think that's a formidable class for the Bears.
I think you can go into that being a very happy,
That's 4 immediate starters. 2, to me, really good developmental pieces. I could actually argue 3 with Tank Dell.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so little. Chandler Zavala is a nice depth lineman, and then Malik Cunningham's that developmental quarterback behind Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Do you have any qualms with?
Absolutely not. I mean, if you look over it, you've addressed what you needed to address. You got better defensively. You got him a lineman to the center that you need.
And because that's the position on that line that I still feel like is a problem.
Yes.
Because I still got Cody White here.
Yeah.
Who is a veteran. I know he didn't play particularly well last year, but that could very easily be because of what's around him.
Uh-huh.
I like Braxton Jones a lot. Tevin Jenkins was good at times last year. I brought in Nate Davis to be the vet in the middle. I have a young center that I really like.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. Luke Weipler grew up a Jet fan. Yeah. I better miss fan, point that out.
Weird.
And the Jets need a center desperately.
Uh-huh.
And I would love him.
Yeah.
For me, that is an A-plus class for the Chicago Bears.
And now you can sit back and you spend some money on free agency because you still got
$50 million.
Plenty of money. And then you say, hey, excuse me, we're going to go all in. We're going to build this offense around Justin Fields. We're going to go all in for this 1 year, see how it goes. And then when we're drafting top 5 next year, we can use those other pieces and
well, I mean, that's the thing with Justin Fields. Everybody made this a deal of, well, now they're locked in on Justin Fields. They're so committed. No.
Because they're
going to put pieces around him. And if he's not the guy, a year from now, you've got an extra 1 next year.
Yep.
You got an extra 2 the following year.
Yeah.
So you got all the ammo you need to go up and get Drake May, Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers.
Yeah. I mean, where's that Panthers pick is going to be top 10 at worst.
I can't say at worst. I could see it. I've got it slated at between 13 and 19. Look, I really believe in that Panthers coaching staff.
Yeah.
That's a very good staff. Now, do I think the Panthers are going to win that division? No, I don't. So I don't think that pick falls in the 20s.
But that division is so bad that they could easily win more games than they should.
And here's the thing you got to remember. If Chicago's moving on from Justin Fields, it's not like they're going to be picking in the teens anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Now, if he gets them to 6-7 wins, you're not moving on.
No.
The only way you're moving on from Justin Fields is if you go 3-14 again with the pieces around him.
Right.
And I think that is incredibly possible. And then you get a legit, actual franchise quarterback.
Yep.
Or it's entirely possible that with Justin Fields, you can do what the Philadelphia Eagles did, build up a roster.
Yeah.
And before you have to pay him, the problem is that you're going to have to make the decision next year.
Yeah.
So that's what I don't hear anybody talk about with Justin Fields. You got to choose on the option next year, and that option will be $20-some-odd million.
Yeah.
Leading you into a contract extension that could put him in the
40, 50. Well, at that point, it could be 50, 60.
It very easily could be. And to me, he's never going to be that quarterback.
No, you'll be done.
But
you do have a couple-year window here when he's on his rookie contract where you could,
if you can't win with him on a rookie contract, you stand no prayer of winning with him after he gets paid.
Absolutely, and that's the decision you make. Hard line right there. You if you don't see winning division, making playoffs,
they're not winning the division.
Not next year. I'm saying upcoming years after that. The year after that, basically.
What's the line? The line on Justin Fields is what? He has to get to where?
I would say if he can get 8 and 9.
I don't think that's even. I don't even think that's realistic, to be really honest with you. I mean, I got to look at the.
Is it though? I mean, Green Bay is going to be garbage.
I mean, they're not going to be good. It's Justin Fields, but
Detroit.
Or it's Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Would it shock you though if the Bears split with Green Bay?
No.
You go up to Green Bay and lose.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, here are the teams you play at home.
Okay.
You play the Lions at home.
Okay.
That's a loss.
Loss.
Play the Vikings at home.
Loss.
That's a loss. Falcons.
Win. Possibly.
It's at home, so I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Panthers.
That's gonna
It's probably a loss.
Yeah.
Broncos, Raiders.
Oh yeah.
That's 2 losses.
Yeah.
Cardinals.
That's
all right. So you got it's just
there's there's 3 to 4 winnable games.
There's all right. Let's say we give you 4 there.
Yeah.
Here's what you got to win on the road: Lions, Packers, Vikings.
No,
you're not going in any of those 3 places.
Probably not.
Oh, you're gonna laugh when I say
What's
this. Chiefs. Chargers. Saints. Buccaneers. Commanders. Browns. You may not win a game on the road.
2 or 3 winnable games at best.
Who the hell are the 2 or 3 winnable games?
The Buccaneers.
I mean, that's still a talented roster. They just brought back Jamel Dean, so it's not like they're just going to hemorrhage the roster.
Well, I mean, Baker Mayfield going to be throwing the ball. Golly, fire them cannons.
All right, so ask yourself this. The Tampa Bay roster as it sits with Baker Mayfield, is that better or worse than the Chicago Bears?
Oh, God almighty.
It's better, and you know it is.
I know. But they're also – the Buccaneers roster is also basically tissue paper.
Oh, it's super top heavy.
And
that's going to depend on where you play them. If you play them the first 4 weeks, they're going to beat you.
And there's no telling how many dinosaurs could fall off the face of the planet and be out for the rest of the year, week 3.
You're not wrong.
I mean that's how. I mean that.
And the reason I want to talk about this is, I feel like we have to you got to set the expectation where it belongs with Chicago. Of yes, this roster is going to be better. I could still argue that you're going to be 4-13, 5-12, 6-11. I think your high side is 7-10, and you should be jerking off with both hands if that's the case.
So is it more to you the development of Fields as opposed
to
wins and losses?
Yes, that's more what I want to see.
You want to see him get the ball out of there quicker.
I don't want to see him run for 1,100 yards.
Yes,
again.
I mean, he's got us at some point.
No quarterback has ever sustained that for a long period.
No, it doesn't work.
I don't give a damn how big you are. And I want to see him make high-level throws more than once or twice a game.
Right.
Because that is what Bears fans do to me constantly is, this idiot says Justin Fields can't throw, and you show me the one throw.
Yeah.
The one throw, he has an entire game that's good. I never said the kid didn't have a cannon because he does.
He does.
Problem is mechanics suck.
And he's that elongated, pitch of a throw, and
he has that Ohio State problem of he stares down a receiver and waits on that receiver to get open as opposed to going through his progression.
Right.
Now, if I start seeing him do that,
yeah,
now we can talk.
And he works the middle of the field pretty well. It's the outsides that he has trouble with.
I mean, it just depends.
Yeah.
It's all so inconsistent.
Yeah.
And what's funny to me is when I hear Bears fans rail on Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same damn guy.
Absolutely.
And coming out, the only difference was that Justin Fields had Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah. And they were
There's
wide
no
open
other difference.
every single time.
Yeah, I have the best receivers in college football. Anthony Richardson had Justin Shorter. So, there's a big damn difference there. Just looking into the YouTube chat, Matthew Hoffman, Jacoby Myers to the Raiders.
Yep.
What is New England's plan at wide receiver? I think they're going to make a trade. I just don't know for who.
I keep freaking hearing.
It's not DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, okay, good.
That's not happening.
Because I mean,
He and Bill O'Brien would actually actively kill each other.
As someone
if
who
they
still
won.
has a piece of Hopkins in a dynasty league, I would cry.
I would say Adam Thielen is more likely.
That would make all the sense in the friggin' world.
He fits that scheme pretty
but
well.
Adam Thielen isn't going to the Patriots. He's going to one of like. Does he think? I mean, at this point, Thielen's probably going to somewhere where he thinks he can get to the playoffs and win, right?
So name me the playoff team that's going to jump over themselves to sign Adam Thielen.
I mean,
Because he doesn't fit in Kansas City all that well.
I mean, there's another team in New York that could use some wide receiver help.
Apparently, your Giants think they're just fine. At
I know.
well, which I didn't say I agreed with it. I just
we
said
did
that's how they feel.
restructure Sterling Shepard's contract. It's not like he's getting a little bit long in the tooth, and he hasn't finished a year in about 3 years. That leaves us with Isaiah Hodgins, who is
let's see. Christian Sorensen asked about KJ Jefferson next year. I'd have had him as the fifth quarterback in this class.
Yeah.
If he'd come out this year, he'd have been my 5.
Yeah.
Over Hendon Hooker, over Tanner McKee, and he would have been. Actually, you know what? I already know the answer to this. I'd have had him ahead of Anthony Richardson as well.
100%.
Let's see. Matthew Hoffman, can we talk about the Allen Lazard Randall Cobb thing?
Yeah,
I mean, for me, it's not that hard to figure out.
I came in this morning, and one of the first things I said to Jeremy was what Greene was talking on there, that basically a lot of this holdup has been because it's not like just Aaron's. He's like one of those things like, all right, who's coming with me? All right, who's coming with me?
And see, I feel like the Jets being in on Allen Lazard, I mean, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're doing that without Aaron.
And they're talked about getting Cobb already. And here, the
Cobb
only
would be a
thing
replacement to
that
Berrios.
scares me is that maybe there was some holdup, and the Jets end is like, well, we have to sweeten the pot up for him to come, and we go and try to sign these guys.
Let me make this perfectly clear.
I had to do the devil's advocate.
Pat McAfee's show started 8 minutes ago.
Okay.
If that show comes to fruition, and we haven't heard from Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to be full DEFCON 5. Because that's the only thing that makes sense.
Don't worry, folks. I got a close eye on Jeremy for the rest of the day.
Oh, I mean, I will be full on and make sure that I'm not going to throw myself in front of a moving
Yeah,
vehicle.
and we're going to keep all shop objects away from Jeremy Greene. Basically like he's in prison.
Now, I mean, I feel like that's how that's going to go. He's unannounced coming on Pat's show at 1:00.
Right.
That's what I think. I've heard that from.
That was a lot
people.
of rumors going around there yesterday that because he's just, like you said earlier, throwing Patty a bone.
Well, I mean, the two people in media that he's actually close to are Trey Wingo and Pat McAfee.
Right.
So
and Trey broke the news.
Trey said it's already done.
Yeah.
And that I don't believe anything's done with Aaron Rodgers until there's pen to paper.
Yeah. Well, or he's wearing good old number 12.
Oh, no, that's what would be funny is that Pat has Aaron in studio, and he just walks out decked out in jet shit.
Or Pat was like, "Hey, Joe Willie, you want to come on the show? We could do a little trade off of the uniform here."
Of the old number 12.
Of the old number 12. How 6 to midnight would you be?
I mean, McAfee's trending right now on Twitter.
Great. Well, because
the show
everybody knows.
Because the show just
and
started.
he's the number one damn show in pretty much the world.
Oh yeah, he's.
But it's not that big of a deal.
Now, I will say McAfee said it is not coming on his decision is not coming on the program today.
Okay.
So
that
is apparently what he opened with. My guy Connor Hughes just tweeted that out.
Okay. If the Jets do bring in both Lazard and Cobb, I don't think it does anything to what they already have.
Cobb would be a replacement to Braxton Berrios.
Yeah, exactly.
Lazard's the replacement to Corey Davis,
who is a much more.
He's a much better run blocker, but I don't necessarily think he's a better receiver.
Right. And Corey Davis is 6'4".
He's also hurt.
Yeah, all the time. Well, Lazard is, he was hurt a little bit last year too. But
he has some issues.
The familiarity is going to be very important when you have, because let's be honest, this is a young receiving core, and Rodgers has not always been hunky-dory with young receivers.
Well, I mean, he got to see Garrett Wilson up close and personal. So
yeah,
I mean, if it wasn't for Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore, he's not coming to New York.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of things out there that a lot of what was going on too is that they're asking Aaron Rodgers to be there, like not just show up week one and throw on a uniform and go out there. They want him to be at least somewhat available to these young wide receivers, this young core, that he can't just, show up and do what he does. And there's a part of me that hearing all this stuff, how he checked out last year with Green Bay and blah, 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 blah. Maybe there's part of him that says, you know what, maybe I need to go in here. I got 2 years left in my career. I got a great defense. I got some young pieces. I'll give it a go for these next 2 years and do what I have to do. And then I can ride off into the sunset after he brings the championship to New York, and, skyscrapers will be built after him, like you said yesterday.
Based just solely off Twitter, it looks like another day of sitting around and waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
I just don't think it's going to happen today. I don't know why.
If it's not happening on McAfee, it's not happening today. So it's just another day. Maybe it'll be a birthday present for me on Thursday.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
All right, this has been the Daily Draft.
Yes.
He is Football Farley Brian Haynes. I am ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene. Feel free to comment how you feel about the Chicago Bears mock draft here. We will do another one of these tomorrow morning, hopefully at 11 o'clock. I had to trade in my car this morning, so that's why I said it'll be kind of fluid. We'll get the stream up and let you know.
Between 11 and 12:30.
It's going to be like the glory days. It'll be like the glory days of the beginning of the Sportsocracy of
Ish.
It's coming eventually.
Ish was what we like to use a lot.
Well, Mr. Haynes, I appreciate you
no
joining this morning.
Yeah.
We always love to have you.
I always love being here, and especially seeing all the people in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Fellers and ladies and gentlemen and all of them, because there's a whole bunch of people in our comment section now.
All the things.
You guys have grown a bit. It's pretty awesome.
We're trying our damnedest to do stuff around here.
Just a scooch.
Speaking of that, free agent grades from day one. That'll be in the ESPN radio show at 3 o'clock today. We'll also continue to talk about all of the signings as they happen. And pray to God that Aaron Rodgers gets done today, because I don't know that my liver can take it.
Could you go through 3 hours again of a show? I mean, you could just, if you watched the show yesterday or listened to the show, you could see the anxiety from Jeremy.
I may start smoking ayahuasca myself. Like that's what this is going to do. And that's being a Jet fan in a nutshell.
Uh-huh.
For Brian Haynes, I'm Jeremy Greene. We'll see you at 3 o'clock today for the ESPN Radio Live Show.